Ozzy, you should play the flute. But I don't want to play the flute. But you should, you'd be really good at it. I have zero interest in playing the flute. No, just watch his flute player. He's really good at it and you'd be really good at it too. Just watch him and take some notes. But I don't want to play the flute. It's okay if you're nervous. I was nervous the first time I played the flute. I just don't want to play the flute, okay? Come on, just pick it up and have a go. How about no? How about I don't want to play the flute? Oh, come on, now you're just making excuses. Actually, no, I just don't want to play the flute. Well, look, if you're doing this activity, you just have to play the flute. How about if I'm doing that activity, I just get someone else to play the flute? Yeah, but you don't need a puppet. You can just play the flute yourself. I don't want to play the flute, okay? Now, let's transpose the word flute with interview while I react to Loophole Lawyer's video. Before we kick off, let me just point out that in the description he says that I'm a fellow LawTuber, which I'm not. I'm a big fan of all of the LawTube community, and Loophole Lawyer has only just come across the radar. Might end up in a couple of mashups because he is pretty funny. But me personally, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a software engineer who just happens to spend an inhuman amount of time with my nose in case law, digital forensics and forensic audit reports. But hey, I'll take the LawTuber title as a compliment. It means I must be doing well with my research. Anyway, hi Vince, I'm Mez, nice to meet you. Appreciate the react video, and I'm hoping that you don't mind if I do a react to your react. So let's dive in.
On that.
We have award-winning journalist Aidan Carney with us today. We have Jason, who's also a journalist.
2 days ago, Turtle Boy appeared on the YouTube channel Aussie Insider, and apparently there was some controversy. Let's review.
When you say controversy, do you mean between us, the three on the screen, or do you just mean the audience? Because between us three, there was no controversy. Jason got tongue-tied. Turtle Boy told him not to worry about it. We all moved on. Who didn't move on? That's right, the audience. Not quite award-winning, but I'm sure he's getting there. I want to hand over to Jason a lot of the questions tonight because he's attended every one of your court hearings, but he knows a lot more of the backstory than I do. I go by watching your streams and trying to piece things together, and we're on different time zones, so sometimes I miss stuff.
For some reason, the Aussie Insider was insecure about interviewing Turtle Boy on her own, so she brought in this guy, Jason. However, instead of initially acknowledging the fact that she was just insecure about interviewing Turtle Boy, she's using these excuses.
Are you critiquing my logic? Or are you critiquing my vibe here, Vince? Because saying Jason knows Aidan's case better than I do is delegation based on subject matter expertise. You might not be aware of this, but I have a number of house guests who come on regularly depending on the subject matter. We have an EMT firefighter. We have an ex-marshal out of Massachusetts. And last year I also had a co-host who sometimes traced up her own stories, so she took the lead when it came to airing those stories. So as far as delegation based on subject matter goes, I think that's called producing, isn't it? I mean, as a male, I can understand how you might view it as insecurity, because in your mind, if you're not asserting control over the interview, you're losing power. But that assumes every conversation has to be a power move. I didn't need dominance here, I needed knowledge. And the audience fills me in, so I figured it was best to have Jason up. But before we kick off, I have a question just related to what I do on my channel. Do you know that LawTube even existed before we started doing the mashups and showing you that all these people were watching? And
It was hard to miss Emily Baker and Lawyer No. I mean, they come up in your algorithm a lot.
I love the Aussie Insider channel, and she does a lot of compilations. She's calling them mashups here. The one thing she's got to be very careful for, YouTube was going to demonetize her channel eventually once she gets big enough, because it does not allow for the reuse of this type of content, even if you have permission from the original content holders.
appreciate the legal advice that isn't really legal advice, but YouTube absolutely allows mashups, provided they meet fair use criteria. In fact, YouTube's own dispute tools acknowledge mashups as a recognised genre of transformative content. That's why there's literally a checkbox for them when you file a claim or counter a copyright strike. The mashups juxtapose material in a way that transforms its purpose. That's textbook fair use. Also, YouTube demonetization is not the same as a copyright strike. YouTube might flag content for review, but actual demonetization comes down to advertiser friendliness, not copyright per se. Lord knows I've had plenty of those. Of course, I'm not ruling out future scrutiny at the monetization level, as broadcasters put more and more pressure on them because they don't want their footage remixed. But for now, I think we're pretty good.
Before Karen Reed, I'd never heard of any of these people. During the Karen Reed trials when I first found them.
But let's get to some serious stuff. If that's the direction you're, Jason, but I'll let you take over from here.
It sure is. I've actually been kind of parroting this on social media because
Apparently the guy next to Turtle Boy here, his name is Jason. He's a really nice guy, and he was brought in as the ringer to ask old Turtle Boy the questions on behalf of Aussie Insider.
Well, on behalf of Aiden, actually, I've uploaded a whole video explaining this in detail, why I delegated, but essentially it was Aiden's request.
I think that we had this moment of celebration at the end of the Karen Reed trial, right? Everyone did. But we still have Aiden facing charges, and we have all this. So there was this kind of this immediate celebration, and people started to back off. And how did it feel?
A lot of this video is critique of Jason, who I might add is not a professional interviewer. I don't think he's actually done an interview before. But I'm absolutely sure he's learning a lot of things from all of the advice the whole world's giving him right now. Kudos to you, Vince, for not taking a shot at Jason for his speech impediment like the chat was doing at that particular moment, which I'm sure was an unhelpful distraction for both him and Aiden.
How do you deal with the mental pressure from all of these people constantly lying about you and being detractors?
I mean, I just kind of learned to ignore it. Like, what they say doesn't really matter to me.
That is sound advice by Turtle Boy, and I give that to every single one of our clients that starts a YouTube channel. Never block anyone for any reason. You have to have thick skin.
By the way, Leslie and Maureen in the chat can fuck off. It doesn't really matter to me. I fucking hate you. It's part of being shut the fuck up. Whatever you want to call me, famous, whatever you want to call it. Like, people are gonna not like you. People are gonna shit on you. People are gonna, say untrue things about you. It's like you just learn to whatever,
He's 100% right. If you're looking at your YouTube channel now and has less than 1 million subscribers, don't block anyone for any reason. Don't have moderators in there deleting negative comments. It will destroy your channel. You will never grow past the 1 million point mark if you do that.
Fuck off, Leslie.
This is a lot like the Fleet thing. I didn't think I won 1 million subs. If disregarding everybody's mental health, including my own, is how you get there, I don't think I want to get there. Looking at Emily D. Baker's channel, I think you can strike a balance though. And I say that because her chat is way less toxic than, say, Law and Crime or Court TV. She also kicked their asses during the Karen Reed trial as far as audience numbers goes. And I'ma hazard a guess that's a big reason why. It sounds like it could be a good power move, but not everyone's after power.
So I think that's great. Do you have any other questions, Aussie?
Another huge mistake by interviewers is asking someone else, do you have anything else to ask? If they do, they'll ask it. But if they don't, now they're stuck trying to force a question. They'll ask it if they have one. Don't ask someone else, do you have anything else to add?
Except if you've already prearranged that backstage beforehand. Because I had said to Jason, I have a couple of questions, so when you're finished, I'll chime in. Get a little bit more casual now. We've been through the roo-roo. It is an unplugged stream. We just want to see what Turtle Boy's like,
And Aussie Insider, you don't need these dopey men to do an interview. You can do it. Don't say you're not an interviewer. You can practice, you can learn, but you ask better questions than these guys do.
So, how about no? How about I don't want to play the flute? Have a drink, Turtle Boy. Get comfortable. I do believe in production land, that's called a queue. Like, we're dying out here, help us out a bit. But
While we're talking about the First Amendment in journalism, what do you feel? I kind of have this theory about why the mainstream media doesn't cover these cases until they're dragged into it. I almost feel at this point that independent journalism has become better than, especially in light of what you've been able to do with the activism combined with the journalism. How do you feel about the contrast between the independent journalism and the mainstream media?
I'm not even close to understanding what the question is right now. Like,
Neither am I.
not even close.
Well, that's really weird because I understood the question. And I don't think it's because Jason and I are smarter than you guys. If you'd asked me the question, I'd have broken out with, "Oh man, we are kicking ass. We had like over 3 million views across multiple channels, including a lot of LawTube, precisely because people are turning away from mainstream media and towards independent journalism." And here's the irony of the situation. Mainstream media has lost the audience precisely because sticking to the guide rails and the traditional question and answer format has given rise to misrepresentation, and a lot of people have lost faith in the traditional media. And here you all are telling us that this is how it's done in the traditional media if you want to be a professional interviewer, so we can, what, have less viewers? Be less popular? What's the point here? If you're going to sit there and wag your finger and say, well, that's not how a professional journalist would do it, while completely ignoring that the audience has already rejected ordinary journalism because it's curated, sanitized, corporate and fake as hell, then that is an interesting paradox, don't you think? YouTube creators are popular because we're raw, unscripted and human. We're not walking teleprompters in makeup chairs. We're just regular people with receipts and opinions and real eyelashes, crooked teeth, speech impediments, coffee breath, anxiety, ADHD, whatever. So when mainstream media says you're not a journalist, that's not a flaw, that's the draw. We're not pretending to be objective while secretly running damage control for the state. So you all need to make up your mind. You want to turn all of us into the very thing you just turned away from, or you just accept that we're real. We're not polished, we're not PR tested, and we're not pretending to be neutral when the facts clearly aren't. If you want a sterile interview where every question is approved by a network lawyer and every answer sounds like it come from a press release, then stop watching us. Go back to your mainstream media. I can't speak for Aiden or Jason, but I'm not a journalist, and I'm not trying to be. I'm something better, someone who gives a damn about the truth, even if it's messy, awkward, or imperfect on camera. If you're more worried about how an interview looks than whether it gets us closer to the truth, maybe you're not as independent as you think you are. You see what I did there? I picked up two things. How do you feel? And independent media, and I ran with it for 3 minutes.
In the context of, let me just round that out. In the context of, I have this theory that the mainstream media is afraid to offend the government. We've seen newsrooms around the country. We've seen them slash their local reporting, and a lot of their content is delivered to them via press release from these same people, like the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office. Do you see like a resistance for them to cover these stories in a way that independent journalists like yourself can fill the gap and actually go back to the real side of investigative journalism that the networks refuse to do?
If we really are having a collaborative conversation here, this is where Toto Boy should chime in with his feelings, because that was the question, how do you feel about mainstream media versus indie media? But oh, that's right, we're not having a collaborative conversation. We're supposed to be doing a traditional TV interview. Apparently.
Well, sounds like you're answering your own question there. Yeah, I agree with everything you said for sure. That is exactly how I feel.
I really like this, Jason. Guy, and I have to emphasize again, this is nothing personal, but what you did besides asking a compound question is ask a leading question. You made your statement, as long as it was, and then wanted the person who you were asking to affirm it, to say yes or no. That's a standard leading question. It doesn't necessarily work great in an interview style, but it does work great when you're cross-examining someone.
These are terrific points that you make, Vince, if you are interviewing or cross-examining someone. I can appreciate that you're using this as an educational tool for those who want to do traditional interviews or cross-examination. So yeah, these are very good points.
I don't understand. Elephant in the
Please.
room. It has been a little awkward, this whole thing. I think we can all agree on that. Is just have a natural conversation back and forth.
Wait, now I'm confused. Are we having a collaborative conversation or an interview?
I'm happy for the criticism. I wasn't really watching chat. I was trying to look over there to see if I could pick out questions.
Jason brings up a great point. If you're engaged in a show that's live, stop putting up the chat. Stop reading chat. I know you want to put up your super chats and everything else. It's distracting. Do not do it.
What's the point of a live stream then? I was putting up the chats, not Jason. And I was trying to put up audience questions because that's the point of a live stream, isn't it? So the audience can interact. If you don't want the audience to interact and you don't want that to be a distraction, then don't go live. Pre-record your interview.
Have someone else do it, but don't do it if you're engaged in active interview.
I don't mind taking the lumps.
And that's a great attitude by Jason. So many people have this big ego where they cannot take any criticism and then learn from it. I like Jason. I like the Aussie Insider. We're all on the same team here. We all need to help each other get better. And I know in the future, Aussie Insider, you can do an interview. Don't rely upon these dopey men. You can do it.
Well, Vince, I appreciate your vote of confidence. And I've met a lot of dopey men in my time, but these two are not it. It seems like we were all confused as to the format of what we were doing here. But I do understand what you're doing with your video, and I don't think Jason minds you using him as the exemplar to teach people how not to do an interview. My only goal here was to provide a few missing pieces of the puzzle that causes everybody to make assumptions because they are missing. There's generally two sides to a story, and just because I'm providing my side doesn't mean I'm making excuses. It probably just means that's my side of the story. So let me finish up by saying I like the collaborative approach that I currently have towards my channel. I like to be able to delegate things that I don't really want to do myself to someone who actually does want to do them. I have absolutely no problem being inclusive on my platform. I know we're supposed to be possessive and power hungry and completely in control all the time. But that's not me. I'm different. I'm proud to be different. And if you don't like it, too bad. Let's not make each other little boxes that are all made of ticky-tacky and all look the same.